Good evening, everyone. Hi, hello. Am I audible? Wait 1 second. Kindly reply in the chat if I am audible or not. Okay, that's nice. Session for both for who just have some knowledge and who don't have any knowledge, who have medium knowledge. This session will be for everyone. And I promise you, after the end of the session, you will have something extra. You can talk about GitHub. You will have some extra knowledge. I'm just share screen. 1 second. Yeah, yeah. So let's start the session. So what is Git? Let's talk at first. What is Git? And before that, let's imagine a scenario where you want to build a website, a personal website where you will have all your skills, a resume type website where you will display everything about yourself, from your hobbies, from your skills to everything. And so you decided you want to make a website. So just before that, you built using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, build a basic website, and you thought that I want to add a feature to that website, but I don't want to change the whole website. I want to experiment in a separate place. So what will you do? Will you just copy the folder and paste it somewhere and then start to experiment stuffs? Won't be that hectic and that bug prone. It will be bug prone. So instead, what you can use Git. Git is a distributed version control system. Git is created for this purpose, to let you experiment in an alternate timeline. Suppose you have this project of your personal website, and where you created an alternate timeline where you can experiment with code with your code and add new features, delete features. You can experiment as you wish, and work and see if your feature is working or not. So after your feature is working and you have seen that it is working, so what you do, after you have done all your experience in an alternate branch, you just merge the base branch to the alternate branch. In Git, what we call the alternate timeline is branch. In Git language, we call this is a branch. Okay, you created, this is the main branch, and you created an alternate branch using the main branch, and you in that alternate branch you can experiment stuffs you want. You want features, you want to delete things, you want to test your code out, you can do anything, and then uh, push these changes into the main branch, into the safe and main branch. So this is Git. Git helps you to track your changes, to create branches, to delete, to keep tracks of everything you want. Suppose for example, let's take another scenario. You 2 or 3 hours ago you deleted files and you want that files back. How will you do it? Will you go to recycle bin and search for the files that you want? It will be hectic again. It will be bug prone. Suppose you recover some files from recycle bin that you don't want after you open that, and you are not sure what files you want. In that case, you again use Git. Git helps you to track every files, and then using Git you can you can just recover those files in a safe and errorless way, in a bugless way. That's Git. Git is basically a tracking system that tracks your changes in your code. It's a distributed version control system. I will come what is the meaning of distributed? I will come in a later second, in a slides later. But let's hope you understand about version control system. Everyone, do you got the term version control system and what is Git? Just say yes if you got, and if you have any doubts, just ask me right away. Everyone, do you understand what is a version control system? Just say yes if you do so, if you understood. Just say yes, and I will move to the next slide. Anyone? Just say yes if you understand.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Let's move to the next slide. So, what is GitHub? So, Git at first, I was missing a some point. Git is a local system. You use Git in your own computer. You don't use GitHub. You don't use Git in some remote server. You guess Git is completely a local based system. Okay, and you have GitHub is a place, as the name sounds. GitHub is a place where you host all your code online. It can be a GitHub can be described as many things. For example, GitHub can be described as a social media for coders. GitHub can be a is a place to collaborate with many people around the world. Suppose let's take one example. Suppose you made a friend in social media, and that friend lives in Japan. Okay, that friend lives in Japan, and you and your Japanese friend came up with the idea to make a startup that will eventually change the world. Okay, and you planned everything out. Now what is missing? You need somewhere where you can discuss, where you can discuss over WhatsApp. You can plan things out. You can write code collaboratively. Okay, and before GitHub, if you don't use GitHub, let's take a optional way where you use WhatsApp. Yes, if you use WhatsApp, it will be troublesome to manage everything. You can have small conversations over social medias, but you need something dedicated for your code base where you can collaborate, discuss changes, ask issues, and merge those requests. That is a pull request, and this is where GitHub helps you to do so. GitHub is basically a place, a house where your code lives, where your everyone whom with whom you wanna make project, and the code that is common with everyone, that everyone is contributing to lives. That is the uh, remote thing of code. Okay, this is where you host the code online. So installing Git. So how will you install Git? You just go to gitscm.com. Second, so the tabs. Here, what will you do? You will install here. You have to install Git. You have to install download for Windows, and it will be downloaded in your folder, and you have to just click on that an executable, and it will be installed on your system. So that's basically it. That's basically how you install Git in a system. So let's talk about repository. The repository is a place where your project lives, where you repository is basically a folder. It's a code directory where you put all these codes, all the HTML files, CSS, JavaScript. For example, if you want to make a web development project, this is where you put all your HTML, CSS, JavaScript files, and this is the main folder where you and your friends group together to work on a project. This is a repository. It is a storage space where your project lives. It basically contains every files and the entire version history, revision history. So let's talk about GitHub flow. What you start from creating a branch, adding commits, opening pull requests, and review and discuss. So what are branch? I have discussed about branch. So what is commit and what is a pull request? So I will come to it again in a few slides later. Let's move to the next slide. So you have installed Git in a system. So everyone, have you installed Git in your system? Hello, hello everyone. Okay. So everyone,
Yes,
do you know how to clone things? How to clone a
yes,
repository? You don't, you
yes,
know?
yes,
So you have you know how to clone using your terminal. So you use git clone. So I will be providing you with a new way using git CLI. Does everyone know how to clone using the basic thing? You just use the git clone command. Everyone know? Then I will move in a most advanced way. Yeah, at first fork then clone, or you can directly clone your local repository. Okay. There is another way using the GitHub CLI, and I will show here. 1 second. So let's see. So this is one way, and there is another way, that is GitHub CLI. Let's move in the browser. Let's clone this repository demo third. What will you do? You will here. You just have to. This is the first way you can do is using HTTPS or SSH. And the third way, this is using GitHub CLI. Just you have to copy this command, and assuming you have GitHub CLI in your desktop, how will you install GitHub CLI? At first, let's see. Just search GitHub CLI. GitHub CLI download. So here you have to just download, and there will be a executable file in your system which will be get downloaded, and you just have to click next, next, next. It will get downloaded. I have in my system, so I'm not showing. So everyone, kindly download GitHub CLI to use this command. Is everyone downloading right now? Yeah, you can do it right now or later after the session. You just watch it. I will just show it to you how it works. After you get down, after you download it, after you have downloaded, just copy this command, and let's open. Let's use let's create a folder. So open in desktop. Okay. Okay. Let's create a folder here. Test. And here, what we will do is open in terminal. Just open VS Code here. 1 second. Yeah, it's opened. Mm. Oh, it's open in desktop. 1 second. So after you have opened GitHub, open VS Code, you can just use a terminal. So at first, before using GitHub CLI, you have to just use GitHub auth login to login into your account. UI login with a web browser. It makes your a lot of use, I mean, easier to navigate. Instead of using GUI, you use CLI to make your life a lot easier and fast. Just copy and hit enter. Just sign into my account. Let's paste it here. Authorize GitHub. Okay. Now it's been authenticated. Let's go back to the terminal. So it's showing that it has been logged in. So now you have to just fork it. So how will you fork? 1 second. So how will you fork? So you have to just paste this gh repo clone Surodip121 / demo third, and it will get cloned in your local system. So I just created a local clone using GitHub CLI. And for example, suppose let's move on to the next slide. So what's next? So you create some changes in your file. Let's create a HTML file and see, and let's add it to your local repo. Okay, to GitHub. Let's understand this flow in a more practical way. So I have already created an index.html file which just contain a basic website using only HTML, not CSS or JavaScript. It will just a basic resume website portfolio. It basically tells about you, your project description. You can add CSS if you wish. So I'm just showing as an example, showing it as an example. So what will you do? What will you do here? Let's make some changes. Okay, you have created changes. Okay, just removed, changed by Sorodip. Alright. You just moved here. You just replaced that with Sorodip and click on save. And let's use GitHub CLI. No, GitHub no. You have to use Git here because it's local to Git. It's why you use Git, and for a task like creating pull request, forking, that you use GitHub for. That for that task you can use GitHub CLI. And right now I will be just using Git. See, at first you have to add git add or git add index.html to create some changes now. At first let's move to this directory. You have moved inside the directory using cd command, and here what you do it git commit index.html. Oh yeah, I have 1 second. One second, backspace. 1 second. I have to first add git add using git add demo third. Let's move to the folder and let's use git add at first. Git add, let's add all the files. We'll do create a file index.log. It's another git process seems to be running. Okay. Add. Hmm. Let's at first let's start by deleting this completely. I don't know why it's not working. Delete. 1 second. The process is actually running. 1 second. Let's like another folder. Let's move to this folder. Let's just gh so dip121 / demo third What was the comment? Repo clone. Okay. Let's clone this repo again. I guess there was some error. There, yeah. I just cloned here inside demo. Okay. And here, just make some changes in index.html file. Let's replace this. Why so deep? At first, let's use git add. So, okay, let's move into this repo. Okay, now let's use git add. Now use git commit. Now this time, just use hyphen because I haven't given hyphen. That was it wasn't working. Let's say changes made, and let's git push. Ah, the changes have been pushed to the to the GitHub repo from your local. Okay. Did you understand, everyone? Hello, everyone. Did you understand what I was telling? Okay. Now let's move to the next one. Okay. And now let's move to the next slide. What's the next slide? It's a git ignore file. See, it is basically the file where you put all the stuffs that you don't want to include in your repository, that don't want to commit changes, don't want to track. Basically, it includes files like node modules, Python packages, envs. You don't want to add these files because you don't need it in your GitHub repo, because everyone who wants to use your repo, you can just create these files like, okay, npm start, npm install. By using npm install, you can just install node modules. You don't need to include every module that you use for React in your project. That's why you use .ignore git ignore file. Okay, specify files that git should ignore. It specifies what git should ignore or ignore, and it also prevents the data which you want to keep secret from others accessing. Okay, and being tracked. So let's move on to the next slide. So readme file. So readme file basically tells what is your project is about. One second. Okay, so it tells what your project is about. And you have GitHub allows you to have a special readme for your special file for your profile. Okay, this is called profile readme. Just create a repo, and inside that repo create a readme as same with the name same as your username. Okay, and this will allow you to design. This is the profile readme. So let's see. Let's visit my profile. So this is your profile. So this is my profile, and here see, I have this readme.md, and you create a repo with your name. Okay. After you create, and that readme will serve as this readme where you can showcase your developer profile. Let's move on to the next slide. So forking a repository. So what is a fork? Fork is basically a copy of a project of someone. You want to make some changes to your of project of someone. So what you do, you fork that repo and make changes. Let's see what I can do. Let's move on to the second account. On my second account, here in this what can I do? See here repo. There is one demo one. Okay. Here I can just fork it. Okay, just fork it will be created. I will be now showing using GitHub CLI. What can you can do? Git fork. Let's let's create another folder with the name forks. I have created. Let's move on to the inside the folder. And inside the folder, let's use gh fork. What is the name? Yes, third slash. What's the name of the repo? Your repositories. Is a demo third. No, it hasn't created. I haven't created anything. So let's create one repo. So let's move on to this and let's fork it. Let's move on to this js auth. Let's move on to this account. Let's gh or auth logout. Just again log in using the second account. Okay, let's paste it there. So copied it. Second. Continue. Authorize GitHub. So I have entered into my second account. So from this account, what will I do? I will create a fork of a repo of my first account. So let's fork gh fork Surodip 121 demo third. What is the name of? Yeah, demo third. Let's fork it. 1 second. What else? Oh, gh repo fork. Gh repo fork Surodip 121 slash demo. Good. Okay, so it's connected. So yes, I want to clone it here. Repository and author set as the default repository to learn more of yeah. So I have cloned it here. I have forked and cloned it here using this here. For example, let's create some changes in the fork. So in the fork, let's create some changes. Right, affected. I won't have posted. It's not it's happening. Let's make some changes and let's push it. Git commit, git add. Oh, I have to move inside it. Git commit changes. Git push. Let's push it. I have pushed the changes, and then let's move on to the first account. Gh auth logout. Gh auth login. What's happening? Let's move on to the first account. You have to move into the first account. Let's authorize GitHub. I have authorized GitHub. I have authorized it. At first I should have made a pull request. Let's create a pull request. Let's move on to the next slide. What is the slide? Creating a pull request. So let's create a request. I should have shown using GitHub CLI. So I have to again move to this next account. So instead of that, let's use this and let's do this account. Let's okay. So here you can just open pull request if you have changes made. That's done. Create pull request. So what's a pull request? It's just asking to the first user that I have made a changes. I have made some changes. So please review it. So in the first account, I will see the pull request that has been made and I can review it there. Let's see changes made. Just have to you can close it and you have this has much conflict. So to resolve it, just move on to the first. I have moved on to the first account. So here you can just resolve it here. Okay, let's view the PR view. Okay, let's do one maintenance. Let's merge. Unmergeable this one will be connecting out again to have the pull request after request amendment. So to run the checkout to just copy this. Just copy this. Just do it. It's not recognizing, so let's do it sequentially. Git merge upstream main. So this is the merge conflict that I have created. So to resolve it, you can accept any one of the changes. I will accept the current change. I have created the change. Then and you have to git commit changes made. Once I know git commit -m changes made. It is not possible because we have unmasked files existing resolving. Just 1 second. Resolve it now. Git add. I have first add it, then git commit -m changes made. So I have just accepted the PR. Okay, it will be shown that I have accepted the PR. Let's move on to this. Let's reload it. Files. I guess it's because of something. Oh, I guess it's in the fork here. It's there's some okay. Oh, what happened? Why didn't it? Just accept the pull request through this account. Let's merge it through this. Let's resolve it here. I don't know why it's working. What should I accept? Yeah, that's not much. So 100 I just did it. I don't know why GitHub CLI was not working as I expected. It must be some error. See, this has been done, and then you can just merge the pull request from merge using GitHub. Yeah, now it's done. Let's move on to the next slide. So, did you get until this, everyone? Everyone? So, so did you understood until this? Do you have any questions? Hello, everyone. Everyone? Everyone? Hello. Do you have any questions up until this? So I will be moving on to the next slide. If you don't have any questions, branching and merging. So you can create a branch that is alternate timeline, and you can merge those that I have seen right now. That I have seen you right now. So resolving merge conflicts. So I just saw how to resolve GitHub Actions. GitHub Actions is basically a workflow that is designed to get triggered and do it is basically an automation. For example, let's suppose a use case where you have deployed things using your GitHub repo, and after deploying you made some changes. You want the changes to be reflected in your deployed website. For this use case, you use GitHub Actions. That's it. It's one of those use case. And GitHub projects is it's actually basically a project management tool where you can see how many pull requests, how many issues that has been done by your team members. It's basically to manage the progress of your projects, ongoing targets. It's basically a surplus collaboration tool where you can track everything down to earth. This is actually yeah. And then collaboration best practices. So here are the possible practices that you can use to improve your GitHub experience. That is, commit messages should be clear and descriptive. Keep your commit messages simple to understand, such that the person who is seeing your commits will be able to understand, or you in the future when you are seeing your in comments in the history, you will be able to understand easily. And regularly sync your fork with upstream repository. Use feature branches for new development. Use branches, dedicated branches. Regularly sync your work. So with the upstream repository, with the actually with the actual repository, such that it doesn't happen that your fork is 6 months older, but you are creating the stuff over the 6 months. It shouldn't happen that way. And that's it. If you have any Q&A, you can speak up, else I will be concluding this session. I'll be ending this session. Hello everyone, did you understand what I told? If you have any questions, you can tell me. I guess you guys don't have any question. Okay. Bye everyone. So it was nice holding a GitHub session with you guys. I hope you take some extra knowledge that you have GitHub after this session. You have some extra knowledge. You in this session you learn to understand. You learned about GitHub CLI. You learned about merging conflicts. So there was some error in my site, and you learned about other things as well about the GitHub flow. I hope this session was useful. Thanks for joining you guys. So bye bye everyone. Bye.